talk, so I'm honored and humbled that you chose this one. Thank you very much. There's a lot of good content at this conference, and especially in this time slot too. So thank you for that. This is my talk, obviously. So there you go. This is my legal disclaimer. I always do a legal disclaimer. It's like when I talk about bad things, because I will talk about how to do bad things. But whenever I talk about bad things, just remember the kittens. I'm adorable. I will never try to steal from you or try to kill you unless you pay me first. So just remember, if I talk about how I'm doing something bad, it's for the greater good. You know, so awesome. There we go. This is the title of my talk, Love Letters to Frank Abagnale, or How Do I Pwn Them in the Count of Ways. This is actually an actual picture. I didn't Photoshop this of me and Frank. It's like from a while back. This was before I gave awkward hugs, but trust me, it was still awkward. It's like, and one of the things I like, and the reason why I labeled it Frank Abagnale, I love Frank Abagnale, because you know why? Frank Abagnale is not an expert at social engineering. Frank Abagnale is not a consummate artist. He was a guy who wanted to get stuff, and he found ways to do it. And he was really, really good at it. It's like he never considered himself an expert. He never said, like, I'm going to go out and be an awesome social engineer. So he says, no, I want to fly on planes. I'd like to be a doctor without having to go to medical school. It's like nurses are hot. It's like, and that's how he did it. And that's the way I look at myself. I mean, nurses are hot, but besides that part, I look at it, I'm not trying to be an expert at this stuff. It's like, I'm doing this for fun. So a little bit about me. I've got two jobs. 80% of my time is spent doing blue team, where I'm doing defense, internal assessment. Actually, the picture, that guy right there is the guy from, I usually go show up the way to work. It's like, if I'm dressed like this, I'm going to hurt you, because I hate suits. So 80% of my time is blue team. I'm Assistant Vice President of Information Security for a national financial institution for the last 10 years. It's like, I have to handle incident response. I have to make sure that our policies and procedures are being done and effectively, and I do internal red teaming for our internal environment to be the bad guy on the inside. My 20% is done doing pen testing, doing what I call security awareness exercises, creating teachable moments through social engineering and physical compromise for the end users. So basically, let me sum it up. I respond to incidents during the day. I create incidents for other people at night. So, the best of both worlds. So, and I'm also a paunchy hacker, but, we'll survive that. So here we go. How did this talk come about? My DEF CON 19 talk, actually DerbyCon 1 talk, I can also say. I gave a talk on how to steal everything, kill everyone, cause total financial ruin. And I talked about getting inside a skyscraper, an office building right across the street from Ground Zero where the Federal Reserve is. It's like a very high secured facility. One of the most secure facilities I've ever seen in my life. And I was able to bypass the just everything. And I was able to get inside, and I was wearing a shirt that said, "Your company's computer guy," which I thought was awesome. And I did that all through a forged email. And even when I was giving that talk, I always thought, man, I wish I could give more time to this, but I got to give all this other stuff. So I always wanted to, talk more about it. So I created a talk on how I could talk more about that. And whenever I successfully, pwn somebody, or I get to successfully do what I was set out to, and break in and help people better defend themselves by me, hurting them first, I get ice cream. So this is me getting ice cream at Times Square, mint chocolate chip ice cream. So that's my favorite. So that's how this story started out. And so this is what this talk is about. So, but one of the things that I love is when I was submitting this talk, I kept getting, besides my rejections on some of them, where this is old news, Jayson. It's like, why are we talking about phishing? It's 2013. It's like, first of all, these are all news clippings from 2013. This was from this last week, like 3 or 4 days ago. This is the Syrian Electric Army taking down Twitter through a spear phishing to their domain host resolution people. So it's still going on. And that's one of the things I like about our industry. It's like we are so fixed on, trust me, taking over a refrigerator and an internet-capable refrigerator is awesome research. It's going to be a great talk, and it's going to be really awesome. And you might be able to really do some damage to that and stuff, But there's still this thing called SQL injection that we may still want to work on. It's not as sexy. It's a little old and dated, and it's still successful. The problem with our industry and stuff, we love the new shiny and stuff, but we tend to keep forgetting about the older stuff, and it's still not fixed yet. So sometimes, every once in a while, let's go back and revisit, two-factor auth. SQL injection, cross-site scripting. Maybe those are something that we can fix, Sony. But I'm sorry, my bad. Those are things that we need to work on. So let's start doing that too. So it's like, and also when we talk about the spearfishing, because one of the cool things about spearfishing is, the whole APT thing, because it's like I want to do the buzzwords to make people drink. But how does the APT start? It's always starting out with spearfishing campaigns. It's like, so it's still something that you have to be actively concerned about. I'm not saying that you have to be totally worried about APT and spearfishing. I mean, some of them are, a little bit more obvious than others. What is the one thing that you find incredibly wrong with this email that should strike you as very suspicious and very upsetting if you get this in your inbox? This is an actual email that I got in my inbox. Norton Antivirus said everything's okie dokie. I mean, the Chinese thing might have been a clue, okay? And there's an attachment that you can't really see that's over here on this side, but it's like, yeah, Norton Antivirus, click on that, it's all good. So that was, and I'm not picking on the Chinese. It's like I hate it when they do that because that's not true. Because best corporate espionage, I still says, come from France. But also I'm an international man of mystery. So yes, I even get malicious attachments and stuff, in Spanish. So and I love the fact that this was in Spanish. I believe it's like and with another email to contact, and I'm like I still don't know what they say. Trust me, I tell people it's like I'm schizophrenic. But the good news is that the voices in my head speak Spanish and I don't understand what they're saying. So everybody's okay. It's like, so unless I get a Rosetta Stone, we're okay. Now, another thing that we're doing in security wrong that we need to start getting better at is educating our users on what phishing is. Our problem in our industry is what we like to do is we like to tell the users, this is phishing. You got some guy in Kenya or Nigeria sending you a scam email, and you got to worry about that because that person's clicking on it and stuff. It's like only idiots are doing that, and then they're poor grammar. Most of the people that are sending these emails, no matter where they're from, are extremely literate, extremely educated. Why do they create the emails with such bad grammar, bad spellings? They're not looking for smart people that will detect it and thwart their plans. They're looking for the idiots that go, "Mo, come over here and look at this. We're going to get some money from some guy. That's awesome." That's the guys they're looking for. So that's who they're looking for. And also they've gotten college professors who have embezzled millions out of their respective universities through this as well. So they're getting all different types. Here's a great example. I love this one. It goes like, warning for scan victims. Scan, not scam. It's like, there's a little typo, that's okay. Victim. Because I always love when I get an email to totally just like demoralize me right off the bat, because that's awesome. And it talks about how the Western Nigerian Council and stuff, is going to be giving you some money, and all you have to do is send $81 to Federal Express and stuff, and you'll be good. And people fall for that. And this is riddled with horrible spelling and mistakes, but people fall for that, and that's one of the things that we got to look at, because we tell our users, this is it. This is all you have to worry about is people sending you weird emails with bad spelling, and if you detect those, you're doing a good job. Good job. But that's not the case. They're getting sophisticated. They're changing their tactics. I like when the whole PRISM NSA thing came out, malicious email that recipient is on the PRISM watch list, linked to just uncovered espionage campaign. And that, for us, because let's face it, probably mostly all of you are on the watch list, right? So it's like, that's something that's relevant to your interest. It's like you see that and you're like, oh crap, they're on to me. And trust me, if you've spent any time with me, you're definitely on a watch list. I promise you that. So you have to be worried about that. So they're getting things like that are topical and stuff, and they're as soon as there's a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, some kind of tragic event, I guarantee you, in less than 5 minutes, there will be domains registered for that. It shows you how efficiently horrible this, universe is. It's like they'll do that for you. Also, here's one, and this one's talking about relevant to disaster. This was 3 days after the Boston Marathon bombing. I got this email. Explosion at Boston Marathon, and it's an IP address with boston.html. Just numbers in Boston, click. Your family was at the marathon. It's like a relative of yours lives in Boston, and you get this email. When we are in a panic state, we're not the most, clinical, rational thinkers. What do we want? Information from all sources. So yes, unfortunately, some people click on that and just like, okay, what's happening? It's like, so we got to worry about that. We got to make sure that we're thinking rationally no matter what kind of event occurs. But I also like this, I had to tweet this, and this was a great tweet from Egypt where it said, fishers aren't even trying anymore. Just received email with subject, open this. And body that's just a link saying, click on this, please. I mean, sometimes, and I gotta appreciate that because it's like, people actually did it because they were polite. It's like, well, it said please, it's like, why not? So we gotta be we're telling our users to watch out for the obvious. And they're so busy being trained that they have to just look at obvious emails and obviously grammar mistakes and obvious attacks that they're missing the key point. Spear phishing attacks are not going to be obvious. Spear phishing attacks are not going to be having grammar problems. Spear phishings are going to look legit. They're going to come from a respectable source. They're going to be mostly coming from people like this. It's like I say, I'm not one of the guys you really need to worry about. You got to worry about these guys. This is Pure Hate and Bravo Hacks. It's like they are spear phishing masters. They create websites and portals, and they mimic the actual company's health information, and they send it to 3 or 4 people in their company and organization, and they send that out, and people are clicking them. And they are always effective, and it's always working. Because our users don't expect that. They expect the poorly written fish. So we need to start educating them on that because emails like this are getting through, and how can you blame a person for accepting this email? I work at a financial institution. This is the exact correct way that most banks are sending out an email to their customers for a secure envelope connection. When they have to go to a web portal and stuff, to download an encrypted information about their account. Also, this one's actually got a zip attachment, the screen cut off a little bit. And once again, Norton's like, okie dokie, we're good. So that is, I'm not going to blame a user for clicking on that link if they were expecting to receive an email and it comes in like that. It's like, I would, hopefully we have mitigation controls, and I hope that they were better educated, yes. But it's hard to get after someone when they're sending out emails like this and we're not teaching them properly to look for these kind of attacks. And it's getting even harder because one of the things that I love being able to tell people and stuff, when I was educating them on phishing is hover over the link. You got to hover over the link and look in the bar. If you hover over the link and look in the bar, it'll tell you where you're really going to. And that's cool. Up until March of this year, where they devised a JavaScript that actually made it where if you hovered over the link, it still said the same. So I'm hovering, I see bank.com. And I look over here, oh, bank.com. I click, psych, phone.com. What are you going to do? It's like, so they're getting more sophisticated. So one of the things I'd like to do is show exactly, how a spearfish actually works and use it for, some educational purposes. So I want to attack somebody, and I want to show a demo of how I would go after somebody. And, I have to thank my mother, okay, because she is awesome about one important thing. I know every single urban legend and chainmail that's on the internet before anybody else, because she makes sure she sends it to me. I wish I could create an autoresponder to her whenever it comes from her, just like, did you check Snopes.com? Did you check Snopes.com? Snopes, check, yes, please. So here's one where this is actually the actual sign that Bill Gates did for an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And someone actually, this was on Facebook, I actually got on my timeline where someone was saying this, guys, I'm not starting a flame war. Mac, PCs, Unix, I don't care. I'll destroy all of them equally. It's like, I don't care which ones. I'm not trying to start a flame war here, okay? But guess what? Bill Gates is an awesome man. You can talk anything you want about his operating system, but that man is a great humanitarian who is doing a lot of good in this world, and trying to use his money and resources, no matter how badly ill-gotten gains they are, that you would think, it's like he is doing good with them. He is trying to help this world become a better place through his charitable organizations and his charitable works. That being said, that motherfucker is never giving you $5,000. Ever. And I don't know about you, but I'm a very petty man, and that pisses me off, so we're targeting him. Okay? So, how are we going to target him? Well, I know a lot of experts and stuff, you got to use Maltego and do some OSINT research, and you got to go in and follow him to his house and figure out what he's eating for. Okay, that's great, okay? But once again, I am not an expert. I am the anti-expert. I like to tell people this stuff's so easy, even I can do it. Okay, so I'll show you some of the tools and elite hacking tools that I use. Right there. In every engagement that I go in, I explain to the person I am using 2 hours of Google. I will use 2 hours of Google to do my research and recon, and 2 hours only. It's like I have never had to use 2 hours and 1 minute. I have never usually gone after past an hour and a half because I'm lazy and I got ADD. But mostly that's my main hacking tool right there. So we go to the Google, and what do? We search Bill Gates at Microsoft, right? No, he's not at Microsoft anymore. Best way to get him now is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We go after that. One of the other ways that we get after that is we go after, not directly after him again. Just like the Aurora compromise back in the day, they went after friends of the Google employees first, attacked them, compromised them, and then sent them emails and link requests through Facebook to the actual employees they're trying to target. It's never, first of all, it's like you never want to go directly at the target. First of all, it's not that fun. I mean, who wants to that's just, not fun. You want to go around, you want to be circumventing and stuff, that's the cool stuff. So we're going after a partner of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So who do we pick? The Pearson Foundation partners with Bill and Melinda Gates. That's awesome, because everybody knows Pearson, right? That's where you got to do your certifications and stuff, and you have to go to their little cramped little offices and have those little nosy people go like, put your books, make sure you're doing the test. And so screw them too. Let's use them in it, right? So we're going to go after those guys as well. So we're going to go and do some Googling on the Pearson Foundation, and I find this guy, Mark Niker. He is the Director of Social Innovation and Investment at the Pearson PLC. He's also the President and CEO of the Pearson Foundation, which basically means if you're President and CEO, you can give yourself other titles like, Director of Social Innovation, whatever that is, right? So that's good. Hi, Mark. He's also, here's his @personed.com is his email address is what he's using, and there's his phone number at the bottom. That's great, because that gives me some domains to look at, right? And I love looking at domains and figuring out what domains I can use. This is one of the scariest slides you will see in this deck, probably this day. The reason being is Pearson Foundation, one instead of an I.org, and Pearson Ed with a 0 instead of an O.com were available. I could buy them. Let that sink in for a second, because I don't know if they're still available now, because I've given this talk at several places, okay? So these may no longer be available. But I am telling you this. If your domain, if you got a business and it's on the internet, you better effing own every variation of your domain. Krypton Security, the guy who bought Krypton Security and stuff, .com, he got 72 other domains. If you own acme.com, you better have acme.com with a 3 instead of an E, a 4 instead of an A. You better own acmesucks.com. Acme, go to hell.com. Acme.info, acme.us, acme.org, acme.net. Because I guarantee you, if you don't, people like me will. And that's not going to be a good day for you. A good case in point, this is an actual website that I happen to serve to. It's like Java securejavaup.com, I believe it is. Oracle Java branding. From the whole standpoint, even if you're not worried about hackers, like just Oracle, it's like what you should worry about is branding. Do you do brand protect? Do you do some kind of branding and monitoring on the internet of who's using your logo? Who's using your logo to portray themselves as your company? I mean, you got to go at least after them for that, right? I mean, once again, unless you're Oracle. So you got to worry about that. So let's go back on track because I like to digress because, ADD thing. Let's go back, and now we need someone to send the email to. We send it to Bill Gates, right? No. Once again, not as fun. We go after this guy. This is Jeff Brakes. He's the Chief Executive Officer at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He was previously with the Microsoft Corporation. Imagine that. And he's on Twitter. I love Twitter. On one engagement for a state treasury, I was an 85-year-old retired lieutenant colonel at the Air Force. My granddaughter wanted to get me on Twitter. So I got on Twitter and I started tweeting on stuff, and I started following the people he follows. Didn't follow him, follow the people that he follows for about a week. In between tweets of, got to get the garage door fixed, just added a new thing in the garden and stuff, which, I had to Google. But it's like I started adding that stuff, and then by the second week, I started interacting with the people that I was, following and he was following and trying to get in conversations that he was in with. Third week, I followed him. Fourth week, started interacting with him. Fifth week, he followed me. Yay! Then after that, it just took a little bit more time for me to send him a DM. Dude, I can't believe they're saying this stuff about you online. It's like, this is just horrible and horrendous. And I am a staunch supporter of you. And if you need anything from me, any kind of assistance whatsoever, I will be there for you. Here's the link of what they're saying. It's just despicable, and it's obviously spurious lies. In case you're wondering, he clicked on it while he was at work. I know that for a fact. And that's another way you do phishing. Sometimes you don't have to send the email. You let the service that they have and they trust send the email for you. It's like another good one is Facebook. Because, we don't consider Facebook emails or phishing, right? These are authentic, actual friend requests that I personally received. These are not Google pictures. These are what I received. I like this one from Esther Schwartz because she looks like an Esther right there. I was bored last night, so I took some bunch of really bad photos of myself, la, 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 come look at me. And here's another good one of this girl. Notice that all the friends that she's got currently are all guys for some reason. I don't know how that happened. And then this girl as well. It's like, one of the things that I like to do that most people should do, when you get a friend request, unless it's from me because I'm actually a 23-year-old female accountant online and stuff, and also on LinkedIn. I've got so many, I've got endorsements for my 23-year-old female redhead accountant on LinkedIn. I could probably do your taxes right now. It's like, and there is nothing more awkward than the person you're trying to compromise endorses your fake profile, okay? Because that's sort of a little weird. But so here I get this friend request from Ashley, and I'm like, hi, Ashley, that's a really nice picture of you. You look very cute and stuff, But how about if I download that picture, take it to my hard drive, not because I want to peruse it later, please, guys, get your mind out of the gutter. It's like, but how about if I upload that picture in Google Images? Using Google Image, you can take a photo and actually upload it and have Google search for you. Oh, look at all these other people she is. Either she's got a really bad multi-personality disorder and stuff, so welcome to the club, I should definitely friend her, or this may not be legit. Okay? Let's go with the not legit one, okay? So now that I've digressed enough, let's go back on track, and let's go meet some more about Jeff. Jeff Rakes has never met me, and he hates me. He thinks I am a really, really crappy individual. And it's not the fact that I'm plastering his information out on hacker conferences around the world. It's the fact that he used to work at Microsoft, and I'm pointing out the fact that he uses Gmail. That's probably what pissing him off, okay? My bad, okay? But it's a little funny. So one of the other things, if you're actually looking at the slides and not the weird guy up front, you're asking yourself, excuse me, why is Becky Ferguson on here? What did she ever do to you? Well, none of these did to me. I'm just doing it for the lulz. But still, becky.ferguson@gatesfoundation.org. Thank you. I now know how you do your email address. I now know the format, and I know where to send the emails that will actually, go to an email server. It's like sometimes it's not the actual, destination, it's the journey. So you find that. So now I've got all the stuff that I need to send my email. So that's out of focus a little bit, so I'm going to have to squinch down here and show how old I am and read the email to you. It says, hello, Jeff. I just finished checking Bill's AMA on Reddit, which he actually did, and I thought he handled it very well. I just want to give you a heads up on a new program we are working on that was inspired partly by his Reddit discussions. Instead of trying to explain this whole thing over this email, including the link below, please review it and get back with me when you can. Thanks again. Hope to hear back from you soon. PearsonEd.com, betterchanges/bgates.html, with the Pearson Ed with a 0 instead of an O. This is the email that I crafted, and it's signed Mark Nyker, president of the Pearson Foundation. His phone number, compromised website, sent from a mobile device. Couple of things. If you're responsible for Bill's reputation online, handling his accounts and his affairs, and a partner that you have and a business association with decides to start a new campaign and they put it live on the internet, and it's called Better Changes, and it ends with your guy's, name, who's not clicking that link? I think you'd be a little curious to see exactly what your partner's sending. Now, another key thing is, I sign it sent from a mobile device. I didn't sign it sent from an iPhone because it's Microsoft and you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's like, but I sent it from a, why do you do that? Because you forgive, because I don't know how he says hello to Jeff. I don't know what his signature looks like. I don't know how they talk to each other. So when I say it's sent from a mobile device, you make allowances. Now, this is something that I've been yapping about and stuff at the beginning of the year and stuff, but luckily, it was in June of this year, there was actually a news story to back me up on it, where people will actually put sent from my iPhone to help forgive spelling mistakes. So also another thing is, this was a Russian email, spam email that I received, where she actually, or whoever, put in, and it said sent from my iPhone. So even the spammers and scammers are using sent from my iPhone, which it's like I felt a little bad because it was after I started giving this talk. I don't know if I gave them the idea or not, but it's like, but either way, it's like that's one of the ways that you get and you trick, because humans, we are conditioned to just, accept certain things, and we don't ever expect something bad to happen. So we want to find an allowance. We want to find a way to say, okay, that's okay. That was okay. He never calls me. Oh, he sent it from his mobile device. No wonder that freaking autocorrect would, Google. So there you go. Now, I told you all the steps of how to create a spear phishing campaign. I showed you how I would do the recon, how I would send the email, and guess what? That's hard. That is difficult and time-consuming, and I'm playing WoW, and I'm trying to level up my character so I can get the Claxy reputation, which is a totally different thing, but I need to make my Sky Golem. Don't judge me. So let's just use tools, right? This is way much easier. All that stuff I showed you, all that hard work and stuff, forget that. Just use, a spear phishing automated tool from Trusted Set, thanks Dave, or this set tool, or Marcus J. Carey's threatagent.com, one-stop shop for all your, exploitation needs with the web interface and portal. That's much easier. Now, another thing, I got another confession to make. This is my confession talk here, is guess what? All my red team talks, all my talks where I talk about breaking stuff, I have never given one talk for you guys. I've never made it really perfectly clear, and I decided to do it in this talk. My talk is not for you. My talk is to be witty and funny enough and stuff, and give you enough information and sound bites that you take it to the user. That you tell someone at work, that you tell someone that you know in your workplace or your executive, yeah, I saw this weird dude and stuff upstage, but he said some stuff about phishing or something about social engineering that you need to hear about. That's who I do my talk for. My talk is always the people that you're talking to. So I decided to be a little bit more direct about that, and this is a link of just stuff straight up that I want you to take back to the workplace. I want you to tell your users, if something smells fishy, it probably is. I had to do a pun. Come on, seriously. The whole thing was about phishing. I had to put it in there. So it's like, so if something is suspicious, just to doubt it. You know, if something doesn't look right, if you're receiving an email that you weren't expecting or it seems a little out of the unusual, do a little bit of, just don't trust it as much. Do some investigations on it. Verify the sender, verify the link, and verify attachments. This is an amazing thing here. I love these. These are awesome. Do you know what these can do? I mean, and this is, I know, this is even after the iOS 7 upgrade, they still make phone calls. You can actually call the person and say, did you send me this email? Because it looks a little weird. Were you supposed to have, you know, the whole virus.exe.zip on that attachment? Because I don't really know what that is. It's like I have a cold, but I mean, I don't know if this is going to help me. So have them do that. I had a gentleman at my day job. He was on the phone with a customer. 30 minutes later, she sent him an email for a wire transfer that she never mentioned during the call. Well, he just received a talk and stuff, you know, educational class at work, and he was like, oh crap, I'm being phished. Someone's compromised her machine, and they heard that we were talking and stuff, you know, and it's like, so they sent me an email with her address. So yeah, he freaked out a little bit, you know. But what else did he do? He called the client and said, did you send me this email? Are you really wanting this transfer done? And she's like, yes, I am. Thanks for checking on me. So it's always okay to be suspicious and try to verify with the person. I mean, sometimes we just send the emails because we don't want to talk to the person, and that sort of sucks. But, you know, most of the time we can actually call the person and ask them. Another thing is type, don't click. Jaded Security is going to love that one, right? It's like, you know, you don't have to click it. If you're being sent to a place, you should be able to type in the domain up on the bar yourself and get to where they're trying to send you. That's hard. That is work, but that also keeps you from being compromised. So those are three things that you might want to help suggest and give to your users to help them better protect themselves. Now, I have another confession. Guess how many spear phishings I've ever done in my whole entire life? 0. I don't do spear phishings because they're hard and they're difficult, you know, and I'm not that talented. It's like, what do I use? Why did I show you all that stuff about spear phishing? Because I showed you a process that I use and how I use emails for. Because what I like to do is break in personally. I like to go in and forge an email to break into a place. This is an actual picture of me in Beirut, Lebanon, behind the teller line while someone's conducting business beside me, and I'm stealing their computer from behind the teller line, wearing a leather DEFCON jacket. I like to come with warning labels, okay? So that's how I do it. I like to do physical compromise. I like to do social engineering tips. I like to do security awareness exercise where I'm actually educating the people by being on site. And that's how I do it. I do it like Frank Abagnale, old school. I'll either forge the document or forge an ID, because I love forging IDs. And let's face it, if you're going to forge an ID, you might as well be the world's #1 hacker. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry, hold on. The world's #1 hacker who's full of number 2. So, and so that's what I like to do. This ID actually, I got in Frankfurt at the 29C3. That actual ID, someone who's actually gotten an ID from the same people was able to vote in their parliamentary elections. It's that authentic. It looks like a legitimate 100% regular ID. And yes, one of the people that I was with actually got one that with his picture that said Jayson E Street, because, you know, thought it was funny. This is an actual one that I got at a government facility that I was walking around in that worked fine. So IDs aren't that hard to forge. They aren't hard to make up. When I was at the bank in Beirut and several other locations, I was wearing a blank badge that had one of their lanyards on it, and that was good enough. So it's not even about, because it's like sometimes I can't even forge it. I just, you know, white piece of paper, you know, looks legit. So all that stuff, all that work on the emails are for this. This is the reason why I created it. This is the email from New York. Now I cut it in half because the top part is actually the beginning. You always have to forward the email to yourself, because I don't print these emails out, because if you print the emails out, that doesn't look legit. It's like you could have just typed this up on one of those, what are they called? Typewriters or something, you know? So it's like, no, you keep it on your iPad. You keep it on your Android device, whatever tablet, the phone pad. You know, you keep it on an electronic device and tablet. So why? The links stay hyperlinked. It's like right there. So what you do is, before you forward it, you change the email address to the actual legitimate email. And then when you forward it, those turn to blue. And once again, the human mind is going, I'm expecting this to be coming from this. That's actually their email address, and it's blue, so they must have obviously received this email before, because they don't understand the powerful magic of, forwarding. So I always forward the email. I start off with this email, and I realized that the company that I'm trying to break into had recently been acquired by somebody else. So I'm talking in the first part of the email, the top part of the email, I'm talking as the collateral owner. The guy who actually created it, he's not my main target, but he now owns the company. And he says, ongoing issues at the victim company. He says, hello, victim CEO. I changed the name to protect, the horribly guilty. I keep having issues at the network while I'm in New York. So I've decided to inform my IT support company to send their best guy, me, out to take a look at the network. I want them to inspect the servers and look at the overall infrastructure to make sure everything is working right. I will also expect them to give us input and recommendations if any improvements are needed to be done. I don't think I want to get the victim CIO involved in this. I want them to come in unannounced and to get a real picture on how the network is running. I hope this will be taken care of before I am back in New York. I have CC'd the head of IT support team, the collateral CIO, so he will be advised as well. Collateral CIO, let your guy know not to show up until the afternoon so as not to be too disruptive. If you have any questions, feel free to give the victim CEO a call at the actual CEO's real number. So I put all that in there and then have him forward it to the collateral CIO, my supposed boss. And now my boss is sending me the email. And he tells me, as you can tell from the email, the collateral owner is not very happy and would like this resolved quickly. You need to drop what you're doing and get over there to the victim companies tomorrow afternoon. If you have any questions, contact me. Make sure to keep your presence quiet and low-key. If you think that they are putting on a show for you or letting too many people know about you being there, just contact the victim CEO or myself. So let's go over some of the key points here. First of all, I show up at 4:30 in the afternoon because I'm told to come into the afternoon, because I told myself to come in the afternoon. Why am I going in the afternoon? Security shifts. I started out this whole game in information security over 20 years ago. Yes, I'm old. Think about that for a second. It's like as physical security. I was one of those guys. I liked doing security from the very beginning. So one of the things that I learned very quickly in that whole field is you've got 3 shifts. The 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift. Those are the sharp guys. Those are the veterans. Those are the guys who know what's going on, and they're less likely to shoot somebody or frighten a customer. Okay? Those are the guys you put on the 7 to 3 p.m. shift. They are the most presentable to the public. Okay? They're also the ones, most likely, to actually, be coherent when they're asked a question. So you put them on the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift. Who do you put on the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift? The new guys, the guys that have enough seniority to get off the freaking evening shift because they want to go out and do something, so they can't get on the 7 to 3 shift yet. But they're not totally, without cause. They still have hope. So they can still be trained. They're still a little sketchy maybe sometimes. So you're hoping that they're more interaction instead of after 7 p.m. But you put them in the 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. shift. The 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. Those are the people. Yeah, we don't want the humans to interact at all. Okay. And for the record, just to be full disclosure, because I like to be honest, I was on the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. Don't judge me. I'm just a night person. Okay. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So you have to do that. So you do it during that shift. Also, 4:30 in the afternoon. Please tell me one company you know of where the CEO of a company is going to be in downtown Manhattan on a 4:30 in the afternoon on a Friday. Exactly. So better cover and better be able to tell your story and go with your story. Now, another thing I did was I also talked about if you have any people making a big deal about where you are, or it's like just come in and announce. I'm saying that because people are going to be coming up to me and saying, I didn't know you were coming. which of course they're not. I'm breaking in. I'm like, well, yeah, but this email says and stuff, And I used this email to get in, to get my valid ID badge. And I started going around the company and stuff, and started going around the office. And I was at the CFO's assistant's computer when the networking guy, who was doing an awesome job, and I'm not joking, he was doing an awesome job monitoring his network, he noticed a huge spike in bandwidth coming from the CFO's assistant's machine to the domain controller. And he found that a little curious. He was like I said, he was doing his job. So he comes over, and it was me. So he asked, what am I doing? What am I doing there? I showed him the email. He reads this email on the iPad. He takes me into the CIO's office, who conveniently, of course, isn't there right now. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. And he talks to the CIO. He reads to the CIO the exact letter, verbatim. I talked to the CIO for less than 5 minutes, and I get escorted, not out of the building, to every single other user's machine so I can finish installing my malware. But the difference is now I have the network guy telling the people to get up that it's okay, just let me do my job. Like I said, I love this email. But that's how we did it. So when you create these kind of emails, it's a little bit different from spear phishing, because you got to make sure you have the 5 points, 4 points. I can't count, it's too early. So you got to have danger. Somebody is not happy. Someone is pissed. It's like, I'm going to be pissed if I don't get in. So yeah, there's always somebody that's going to be pissed. There's always some danger. But also there's intrigue. The owner was talking to the CEO, but not talking to the CIO. So that's not cool. Something's not going on here. The CIO told me after the engagement that he honestly thought he was losing his job. That's why he cooperated with me. That's the reason why he let this go. Politics. CIO knows about one thing, CEO doesn't know about anything else, but there's always a reward. What's the reward? If you do everything I say and work with me and help me with this, I'll get the out. I'll leave. And trust me, if you've known me long enough, you know that's a very good reward sometimes. So that's a really great thing for them. So I tell them, it's like, what I do is, basically, in every single engagement, I go in, I just throw a whole bunch of crap at you and destroy your day. You were having a good day. Even at work, it was still a good day. And then some yahoo comes in going like, well, we got this, I got to do, this has to be done. But if you cooperate with me, I'll leave. I'll get out. It's all I need to do is just this, and I'm gone. All I need to do this is install this device, and we're good. And I'm okay with that. So that's how you do that. That's how you create that. Now, another thing I like to do is want to make sure that we bring back to the users, you need to let them understand that social engineering attacks are on the rise. You've got to start better training your employees. You go to a bank branch, and if you go in there with a shotgun and a ski mask, you're going to have a bad day. Because employees are trained to respond to that properly and in the right way. You show up with a USB drive or a phone plug, and it's going to be pretty cool. They understand how to deal with the jerk and the ski mask and the shotgun, not so well how to understand and deal with the jerk with the USB drive and stuff, and the computer. That's not their fault. They're not stupid. They're not properly trained. No matter how legit it looks or presented, call and confirm. Does every single employee know how to contact you if they see something suspicious? Once again, if they don't, you need to look in that mirror. They need to know how to contact you. Always notify security when facing an unknown situation. It doesn't matter if you're feeling a little unknown or a little, call and confirm. Just check it out. Now the next part is another thing that I like to forge besides emails is I like to forge get out of jail free cards. That story began with me in a dumpster. A lot of stories end up with me in a dumpster for some reason. Don't judge again. But so I'm in Houston, year 2000, breaking into a bank. There's a construction dumpster. I'm inside it, rooting through. I love construction dumpsters. They're awesome because there's less likely to have food matter, or other matter. So it's like you gotta love dumpsters that are construction dumpsters. So I'm going through a construction dumpster and I find the blueprints for the bank. Let that sink in for a second. That's an awesome thing to have if you're a bad guy, maybe, right? So I'm trying to get out of this dumpster so I can do my happy root dance. I won't show you the whole thing because it's, there's children here. But so I'm trying to get out of this dumpster to do my happy root dance, and I notice these blue and red flashing lights. And the first thought was, I didn't order disco lights for my happy root dance. And it's like, and I turn around, and there's these two cops, and so, there's this one guy, he's like the younger, let me see your hands, let me see your other hands now. And I'm like, dude, I'm coming out of a dumpster. But I'm in Texas, so I might die here, okay? So it's like, so I'm getting out of this dumpster, and I'm going like, and the other guy who seems a little bit more mature, a little bit older, so and less likely to take my life, I go over here and I reach out and I'm like, it's right here. Please don't shoot me here. It's like, I've got this letter. And then I go sideways, because he was on the left. I go sideways to the guy less likely to kill me. It's like, here, read the letter. It's all good, okay? And it's like, and give him the letter. And he reads my get out of jail free card showing about my scope, what I was doing. And he reads it, and he goes, dude, calm down. It's just they're doing some kind of security assessment. It's all good. He didn't call anybody. He just saw the letter. I had an epiphany. I now always carry two letters. One that's the original, and the one that I faked that's a little bit more enhanced. So here's a good example of a get out of jail free card, a nice little scoping letter of engagement. It's got the standard rigmarole and stuff. These guys are going to be here for this long time. This is their dates that they're here. Contact me at these numbers. It's all good, right? So I take it. I do not use the image that they give me, because that's cheating. I do not copy this and try to edit it. That's not fair. I find an image that I get off their website or that I Google, and I use that for the get out of jail free for the letterhead. But I do add this. This is an awesome paragraph that should be added to everything, right? All it just says, during this engagement, the above-mentioned contractors will be authorized to remove property from the premises. Also, if presented this letter, be advised that it is a requirement to assist them in their assessment. Due to the fact that the engagement is ongoing during the date specified, security is required to not report or document any of this activity so as not to interfere with the results. The contractors are to be considered duly authorized to enter security areas without assistance or with assistance if needed. Yes, I've actually had security help me carry out a server to my car. I love this get out of jail free card. So one of the things that we have to learn and teach are security. Do you train? You have contracted security usually. You're building security. Have you taken the time to actually give them a little bit of information, a little extra education? It's your data. It's your property. You might want to take that kind of time. 3 of the things that you can tell your security. The X-Files had it right. Trust no one. Just like I did earlier, when I even do something, I have a circle of trust. Just like, how you met your parents. This is my circle of trust. Here's me. I'm not even in there. I used to tell people I had 2 people in my circle of trust, my daughter and my son. My son turned 13, I kicked him out of it, it's only my daughter now. Okay? She's there till she turns 13. Well, no, the way she's going, she'll probably be out at 12. But still, it's like, that's my circle of trust. If I leave a bag somewhere, I always say, hey, can you watch my bag? Then can you watch her watching my bag? Can you watch them watching? And I create a circle of distrust. Because at some point and stuff, it's like if I go to do a circle of trust, you're going to go, well, you obviously trust him with his bag. Do a circle of distrust, like, what are those sketchy people going to do? He's afraid that they're going to mess with his bag. I better watch them. So it's like you got to create that circle of distrust. Another thing is always expect a Spanish Inquisition. And I'm saying that here in America because I learned from a previous talk that you do not say that joke when you're in Barcelona, Spain. Still too soon. I felt really bad about it, honestly, okay? Especially when you're using a Monty Python sketch, so you got English people making fun of Spanish people while you're in Spain from an American. Yeah, that happened. So you have to train your security to always expect something bad to happen. No one wants to expect something bad to happen. So they like to couch that. Well, unless you're me, because I'm always expecting something bad to happen. Trust me, you've seen my Twitter account. So it's like, so yeah, you always have to expect something bad is going to happen. Another thing is, and this is the bummer that I ended on for some reason because, I'm sadistic, is no, they're not our training planes. December 7th, 1941, guy watching the radar tells his supervisor, I see these planes coming in to Pearl Harbor. What do we do? What does the supervisor say? They're our training planes. They've got to be our training planes. What other excuse is there? What other reason is there? They have to be our training planes. Don't worry about it. Always worry about it. If it's an anomalous, that word that I'm trying to say, if it's one of those, always look. Always go after the unexpected. Always try to investigate the unexpected. So there are some links that you can get later. Here's the part where I drink the Pepsi. And yes, that would be it. And after telling you about all malicious links and everything, please feel free to scan that if you want a copy of the presentation. I knew it wasn't, but it's seriously legit, I promise you. It's like, but there it is. Feel free to take a pic. If I'm not paying to lie to you right now, I'm not lying to you, usually. And then here's the extra links and shout outs. And I'm here through the whole conference, so if y'all want to talk or have questions, feel free to see me somewhere, or if you just want an awkward hug, I'll be out.